You're looking to buy a small business and you see a business listed without an asking price, here's how to get a good estimate of what that price should be. No asking price is a common practice among M&A advisors versus business brokers that almost always list a price. And as you move up price, you're typically going to run into more and more deals that don't give an asking price. Now, we hate this and most people do. It's good to know that the seller has like some reasonable expectation of what the value of the business is. When there's no listing price, we really don't know what they're thinking. They might think their business that's really worth $3 million is worth $10 million. And then it's a complete waste of our time to spend any time on it, looking at it, because we're just too far apart. Having an asking price lets us know that at least we're in the ballpark with each other. I did see one M&A firm put out a survey on LinkedIn recently where they asked all their followers if they preferred price or no price. I think the people spoke pretty strongly that they prefer a price. And of course the response from the broker was, or advisor, was too bad, we're not going to give it to you. So we have a model that we use when we're looking at businesses that we use to price these types of things. It's not perfect, but it gives us a good starting point. So here's a look at the basics of our model. The biggest factor of the multiple for a business is going to be the amount of cash flow that it's actually producing. The more cash flow, the higher the multiple. So if you take a business that's making less than $100,000 in seller discretionary income or cash flow, then that's basically you're buying a low-paying job. So it's going to go for a very low multiple. So maybe 1 to 1.5 times. So we might use a starting point of 1.25 times, which is the midpoint of that range. And then once you get to a business that's generating $1 million in cash flow, you probably have a business with some infrastructure, some staying power in place. So you're going to see the multiple go up on those to that 3 to 4 times cash flow range. So we would just start with 3.5 as a starting point. And we take those midpoints and then we add or subtract depending on certain factors. So just a couple examples of things that we use to add or subtract. So if they have a full management team in place, we add 0.5 to the multiple. So if that midpoint for that $1 million business was at 3.5, now we're at 4. And then we can also subtract. So if business is highly dependent on the seller, if the seller is generating all the sales, then we're going to subtract half a point. So instead of 3.5, we're going to be at 3. And then we also consider certain industries. So restaurants are higher risk. They're going to trade at a lower price. So we might subtract a half a point there. Some of the lower risk industries like say plumbing or HVAC, we might add a half a point to that midpoint. Now this framework is no way perfect, but it at least gives us a good starting point.